Hi, welcome to today's Piece of Peace. We had a great celebration over the weekend as believers in Jesus Christ as we celebrated Resurrection Day when Jesus rose from the dead. Out of any religion that is practiced all over the world, Christianity is the only religion with a living God, a living one, not someone who has died, not a human, not an idol, not a fictitious animal. It actually is God, and a living God, and the creator of all things, which I'm very appreciative of. So today, I was just thanking the Lord for our worship services yesterday. How he was just meeting with me over the weekend as I was practicing and going over our worship set for the Easter Sunday and Resurrection Day. And you'll have to excuse me, but there's a thunderstorm going on outside, so you might hear a little bit of that while I'm recording. But and all the more power to God. But it was such a sweet time of just engaging. I feel like we brought our first fruits to God on Sunday, where we had been practicing this music for a while and listening to it over and over again. And I had posted a couple weeks ago, coming Easter Sunday, some of the music that we were going to be doing. And it's nice to have the whole congregation watching and listening to that, so they're anticipating this worship. And it was really a beautiful thing. I was extremely happy with how everything turned out. But I was thanking God for it, and thanking him for the worship and my children coming, my son coming and his girlfriend and my husband being there, and just what a beautiful day it was. Thanking him for his presence and thanking him for what he did for us on the cross, our living God. So today's scripture is in Isaiah. So I'm reading out of Our Daily Bread. The author is Lisa Samra, and she's writing it Anchored in Truth is the title. We're going to be in Isaiah 22. And we're going to go from 15 to the end of the chapter. It says, "This is what the Lord Almighty says. Go, say to this steward, to Shebna, who is in charge of the palace, what are you doing here, and who gave you permission to cut out a grave for yourself here, hewing your grave on the heights and chiseling your resting place in the rock? Beware, the Lord is about to take firm hold of you and hurl you away, O you mighty men. He will roll you up tightly like a ball and throw you into a large country. There you will die, and there your splendid chariots will remain, you disgrace to your master's house. I will dispose you from your office, and you will be ousted from your position. And in that day I will summon my servant Eliakim, son of Hilkiah. I will clothe him with your robe and fasten your sash around his hand and your authority over him. He will be a father to those who live. I will hand your authority over to him. He will be a father to those who live in Jerusalem and to the house of Judah. And I will place on his shoulder the key of the house of David. What he opens, no one can shut, and what he shuts, no one can open. I will drive him like a peg into a firm place, and he will be a seat of honor for the house of his father. All the glory of his family will hang on him, its offspring and offshoots. All its lesser vessels, from the bowls into the jars. In that day, declares the Lord Almighty, the peg driven into the firm place will give way. It will be sheared off and will fall, and the load hanging on it will be cut down, and the Lord has spoken." Lisa goes on to say, "I will drive him like a peg into a firm place, anchored in truth." She goes to write, "My family lives in a nearly century-old house with a lot of character, and including wonderfully textured plastered walls. A builder cautioned me that with these walls, to hang a picture, I'd have to either drill the nail into the wood support or use a plaster anchor for support. Otherwise, I'd risk the picture crashing to the ground, leaving an ugly hole behind. The prophet Isaiah used the imagery of a nail driven firmly into the wall to describe a minor biblical character named Eliakim. And unlike the corrupt official Shebna, as well as the people of Israel who looked to themselves for strength, Eliakim trusted in God. Prophesying Eliakim's promotion to palace administrator for King Hezekiah, Isaiah wrote that Eliakim would be driven like a peg into a firm place. Being securely anchored in God's truth, the grace being securely anchored into God's truth and grace would also allow Eliakim to be a support for his family and his people. Yet Isaiah concluded this prophecy with a sobering reminder that no person can be the ultimate security for his friends and family. Because we all fail. The only completely trustworthy anchor for our lives is Jesus. As we care for others and share our burdens, may we also point them to Jesus, the anchor who will never fail. Lisa's charge was this: how can you stay firmly anchored in God's truth and grace? And in what ways can you support those feeling weighed down by life's burdens? And her prayer was this: Dear Jesus, thank you for being my anchor. As your child, I know that I am firmly planted in you. I found it very interesting that the Lord took Eliakim and just was going to I'm taking all this away from you, I'm going to give it to him. But even in his humanness, things would falter. Even as God gives to us, in our humanness, things can falter. And the only thing that remains steadfast, firm, and strong is Jesus. Our anchor needs to be him. Everybody's anchor needs to be him. If people put you on a pedestal because they think you're closer to God, you spend more time with God, you listen more to God, watch out, because your pedestal is going to come crashing down the minute your humanness comes through. Nobody should be put on a pedestal. Jesus is the only anchor we can cling to, ever. He is the one who rose from the dead. He did. He's the living God. The living God died and rose again. This is amazing. Jesus Calling is a book from Sarah Young. She writes from the perspective of God speaking to us, and you can order her book online. Today reads this: let me fill you with my love, joy, and peace. These are glory gifts flowing from my living presence. And though you are an earthen vessel, I designed you to be filled with heavenly contents. Your weakness is not a deterrent to being filled with my spirit. On the contrary, it provides an opportunity for my power to shine forth more brightly. As you go through this day, trust me to provide the strength you need moment by moment. Don't waste energy wondering whether you are adequate for today's journey. My spirit within you is more than sufficient to handle whatever this day may bring. That is the basis for your confidence in quietness, spending time alone with me, and confident trust, relying on my sufficiency. That is your strength. And that is today's piece of peace. God bless you.